We're delighted to welcome today Kerry County Council's Climate Action Community Engagement Officer, Caroline Toal, who a lot of you may be familiar with already. Caroline previously held the role here in the PPN as the Development Officer. And Caroline is here to talk to us today about the Community Climate Action Programme Fund that is opened and is an opportunity for community groups to access funding to introduce climate action measures in their work. So I'll hand you over to Caroline to do the presentation. We'll have time for a Q&A session afterwards. So if people want to put their questions into the chat, or once Caroline has finished presenting, if people want to raise their hand and we'll go through the questions. So I'll hand it over to you, Caroline.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Mairead. And thank you all for coming and joining me at this lunchtime session. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a whistle-stop tour of the Community Climate Action Programme, what it's about, the criteria, who can, who can't apply. But I've also sent into Mairead various pieces of information, the slideshow itself, but I've also sent in a guidance document as well that I think will give you a lot of food for thought. And on top of that, I sent in the listing of the groups who were successful in the previous round of funding as well, because sometimes it's going to be yourselves that are going to be your greatest advocates and supports. So if you see something that was running, Kerry, contact a group and have a chat. So I've sent in various, and I sent in the Word document of the application form as well. And thank you to Mary from Friars who prompted me at a meeting the other day when she was talking about the application form. And I thought, do you know what, that is a great idea that groups have a Word document so you can play around with that. But do remember that it's an online document that you'll ultimately be filling in. So you have my details there, ctoal@kerrycoco.ie. Again, if you want to email a query to me, if you want to run something by me, my number is 087 689 1105. And feel free to give me a buzz because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to support and guide as much as I can do all about the Community Climate Action Fund. So just to give you a brief background picture to where this all came out of, because the ethos behind it is to support and empower communities in partnership with their local authorities to build low carbon sustainable communities. And actually, in reality, in 2021, it was Kerry PPN along with 11 other PPNs in the country that came together and had a climate conversation. And the information that came out of these climate conversations was phenomenal, to the extent that the minister actually had another round of climate conversations the following year. And from that, again, you had local groups, local people, community and voluntary sector saying, look, we need to have local actions acted on locally. We need to have a local climate action plan. We need to have funding that is for local community groups to actually affect change locally and not have maybe so much a top down, but a very much a bottom approach, because we have to look around and say there's very strong environmental sector in County Kerry as well. So they just wanted that additional support in order that they could do programs that they wanted to. So again, Kerry has been very fortunate this time. We've gotten 663,000 funding coming into the county very, very shortly. It is the same amount of money as phase one. And the groups then, if successful, you'll have 18 months to actually go through the whole program. So what is it? There's 5 teams that are involved. I'm going to do all this together. Team 1 is community and energy. Team 2, travel. Then you have food and waste, shopping and recycling, and local climate and environmental actions. Now, ideally, if you're looking at your project, you could be looking at one theme or more themes. But this is something that you really need to sit and think, what can I do? Because even last week, I had some very interesting sessions with groups. And when we teased it out, it wasn't just one team they were looking at. They were looking at another team as well, but they hadn't really realized it, or they hadn't verbalized it. So it was talking it through, they realized, oh, we're not actually only doing this team, but we are actually doing that other team as well. Now, it's not a requirement, but again, you have to bear in mind 663,000 for County Kerry is a phenomenal amount of money, but there is going to be high competition for it. So you want to make sure that the application that you put in, you're putting your best foot forward, and that people really get a sense of what your group is about and what you hope to achieve as well. So if you look at the project sizes, again, you're very fortunate. There's 3 different project sizes. So you have small scale projects. So this is up to 20,000. You could be looking at a project, and 1,000, 1,500 would absolutely set you on the right track. So again, my thing is, don't get caught up in the money. Look at what you plan on doing and how you're going to achieve it. The medium scale is 20,000 to 50,000. And then you have 50 to 100,000 as well. The great thing about this Community Climate Action Programme is that you receive 100% of the funding, and you have 18 months in order to finish the programme as well, or the project. So that is actually quite huge, because a lot of other ones you actually need to have a certain amount of funding in place. So here we are. Who is eligible? You must be a not-for-profit organisation. You must be located within Kerry County Council. You must submit a completed application form. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, of course we'll complete an application form. But in the next slide, I'll say the don'ts. Fill out the form. Do not be using a yes or a no. Do not presume that people know where you're coming from, or what your action is, or what your output is going to be. Make it clear, make it concise, but be very clear about filling out the application form. And you must be registered with the Kerry PPN. And the reason for that as well is that the Kerry PPN have their own criteria for membership. So if you are a member of the PPN or the Wheel or Tidy Towns, you have gone through their criteria, their process, and you're out the other side and you have your membership number. So it just shows that you have that level of governance in place, and that you have your minutes and you have your meetings and everything else is in order. So who cannot apply? Private individuals, commercial undertakings, national community organisations, schools, universities, credit unions, or other financial institutions. Now, I know that the Kerry PPN has been doing phenomenal training in the last while as well. And I would think that they would stand with me on this one as to how to make an impactful application as well. This is a community climate action programme. So be very clear about your climate impact. Be very clear about your climate action. Show how your project is going to make an impact, and be creative about it. And if you need to look at partners, look at joining with other groups, who's going to be the lead, how you'll come together in order to get this project off the ground. Show value for money and explain your costs clearly, because there's no point filling out an application, putting the costings down there, but not being clear about what they're for or the value that you're going to get it out of it as well. Achievability, show that you'll be able to deliver this project within the time span that it's going to take as well, within the 18 months. And again, look at partnerships and community engagements. Involve others if you need to. Good governance, absolutely very important, to show that you can manage funds and that you have a good system in place as well. And one thing that I think is absolutely of paramount importance, when you're doing your application, you're not going to be doing it in isolation. You're linking it to Kerry County Council's Climate Action Plan. Now that is up on their website. If you can't find it, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to get the link or just send it out to you as well. Because within the climate action plan, there's going to be objectives in there. Align what you are working on to Kerry County Council's climate action plan as well. Show that you have strategic thinking in place, that you're just not out there with this terrific idea, but you're not linking to the plans that are already there. There's also the LECP, which is the local economic and community plan as well, that has come out. Show that you're aware of these as well. Because again, that's impactful. That's what connects people to this person, this group actually gets what's going on and how we can really affect change as well. Now, these are really important points to remember when we talk about an impactful application form. This is how not to have an impactful application form. No quotes, no cost breakdowns. Costings don't include quotes, no governance or little information included. The project not eligible. Very little detail in the application. One sentence answers, and you probably are sitting there going, oh, that's not possible. Trust me when I say I can actually go through applications that actually have one word answers. Cost breakdowns don't add up, and no clear understanding of the community climate action plan. And link it to it as well. Show that you do understand it. And by doing that, you are giving yourself a fair shot, because this is the evaluation criteria, and this is what your group wants to be hitting: the relevance and impacts, the innovation and scalability. I was talking to a group last week, and even from them talking it out, you could see how this could be replicated and scaled around the county in various different ways. Value for money, achievability. And the one thing that I would absolutely strongly suggest is that if successful in the application, that you would have a subcommittee put in place regarding this fund. Because what I've seen is that one person who is great in the group, oh sure, she knows it all, she can do it, and they're stressed doing all the information, getting all the documentation, sending it into Kerry County Council. We're going through various processes. So support each other, have a small community climate action subgroup that will support each other to get the different documentations over the line as well. A partnership approach and governance arrangements. So that's the evaluation criteria that you're going to be looking at when you're doing out your application and to think of. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, who can support the community group? There's actually so many people that can. You have your local authority as it is. I'm there as the Community Climate Action Officer, and I'm more than happy to meet you online, to meet you in person, to meet you at your proposed group. Give me an email, give me a ring, and we can brainstorm different ideas as well. Because sometimes, and I hope groups have found it very useful, by brainstorming an idea, and even I have been not blindsided isn't the word, but just particular queries. And I thought, well, I can't really answer that, but I've been able to contact the department and then feed back to the group exactly what the response is as well. So, you know, if you have a query, just contact me. But we also have the local authority water program officer. We have the climate action officer. We have the municipal district officers in the 5 municipal district areas. We have the excellent biodiversity officer, Eleanor Moore, as well. And we have the environmental awareness officer. So there's a lot of people there that you can pick up the phone to or send an email and ask them for advice or assistance on your own application as well, or where you're planning on going. And again, Murray is there, and I always include the Kerry PPN because they have a fantastic training resource up on their website. Now, I just took out this one, Murray, because it's a capital project and it's very much about capital funding. I thought this would be an interesting one as well. And I know that you've been recently doing the application forms as well, which is great because it gets people into that mindset of what is actually needed and how can we plan. But I put each other down as well, because sometimes I think we don't realize the expertise we actually have in the room, where it's the virtual room we are here, or whether it's in a community space. There's so much knowledge that's on the ground. And that's why I thought it was worth sharing the groups that were successful last time, because you can pick up the phone to them and say, well, what was your learning? What were your greatest challenges? What were your barriers? And take the learning from the groups that have gone through the process. So it'll help you going forward as well. And I just popped up some useful websites as well that you may find interesting, and I'm sure you could absolutely add to that as well. So I'm fully aware that it is a whistle stop lunchtime tour. It has been launched now, and the closing date is the 22nd of December. So you have time to get your applications together, to get all your information and submit to Kerry County Council. So I shall stop sharing now, and if anybody'd like to ask me anything, or I'll check the chat. Thanks very much, Murray. It's great having all the information there in the chat box as well. You can actually see the climate action plan and the training resources. They're right there for you as well. So bear in mind, there's a lot of people around that can help you in this process as well. And pick up the phone and have a chat. So it's all very quiet. So either I was absolutely amazing and answered all your questions.
Caroline, could I ask you something?
Of course.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Right. You mentioned one-word answers or one-sentence answers. Are you encouraging shorter answers, or do you want a lot of filling out?
No, I think you need to be very clear about setting out your stall, what your project is about. When I'm saying one word answers, does your committee have committee meetings? Yes. We meet once a month. We have an AGM once every 3 years. Our minutes are recorded. They could be circulated. They could be published up on a notice board, because I'm thinking about a group that actually put their minutes up on a notice board. So look at the questions that you're being asked and give the information that will support your group as best it can be. And that's what I'm saying. It is a fund that is oversubscribed to. The last time there was over 3 million worth of projects that came in for 663,000. So what I'm trying to say to you is, put your best foot forward and be clear about the answers, and also take it from a perspective that who's ever reading it won't know you and your group. And I could say, oh my gosh, I know what Friary's doing. You're doing an amazing job out there, your biodiversity and the environmental impact that you're having. But always stand back and come from the perspective is that this is going to be looked at from a grants team. And you want to set the picture for them and be very clear about your climate action, your climate impact, and what you're planning on doing.
Thank you very much. That's very clear. Thank you.
No problem at all.
So there's just a question there in the chat, Caroline, looking for a link to past funding, the groups and the amounts they received.
Absolutely, no problem at all. And it's one of the pieces of it, or one of the documents that I circulated to Murray. I actually have it on the table here. what I did was I actually included all the country because one, I think it's actually quite interesting, so bear with me. But also I think it's page 12. It's in alphabetical order anyway. I think it's page 12 or page 13 Kerry is on, and you'll see all the groups listed there. It lists the groups, whether they're small, medium and large, the project overview, the funding that was allocated and the themes that they had gone in under as well. So Murray has very kindly said that she'll send that information out along with the guidance document as well and the application form. Again, I just want to stress the application form is just there for yourselves so that you know what to expect going down before you go online. It's just for your own usage. Really, it's like a little homework book that you can work away on.
And just another question, if you could just confirm your contact details again for anyone who might have missed them at the start.
Oh, no problem at all. They're Toal, TOAL, at Kerry COCO.ie. And if you want the mobile, it's 087 689 1105. Thanks, Murray.
Caroline, just in terms of collaboration on projects, is that something that is more favorably looked on than a solo project, or is it really just if there's a genuine
well, I think it's
collaboration or need?
Yeah, I think it's more if it's a genuine purpose and a rationale behind it. I'll give you an example. I was asked, could a preschool apply? Preschools can't apply. But we'll just say for the sake of it, the preschool is in a community centre. The community centre could actually apply on behalf, and include the community centre could apply and the preschool would be included within that, which would be perfectly reasonable. Because I think it's very important when we talk about community climate action, it's about community, it's about access as well. So it can't be closed off. It can't just be, for one thing. So look at your connections. A few groups have come together and they formed natural linkage groups as well to each other. And you probably would find that as well. There's a lot of tidy town groups out there as well, and they can be linking in with other groups, and that supports then what they're planning on doing and the accessibility to the project. So don't look for partners if you don't actually need to, and you're very clear about what you want to do, if that makes sense to you. Oh, hi, Blonde.
Hi, Caroline. I just said I'd drop in here. You mentioned us there in the kind of partners and other advisors that can come on board for helping out with community climate action projects. So I'm from Law Pro, just the community water officer for Kerry. So if anyone does have water conservation or water biodiversity related projects that they want a bit of advice on, or any, to brainstorm an idea, we are available for your community climate action program application, or also we have our own funding as well, if that's of help to anyone. So if anyone has a water question, I can answer.
No, that's terrific altogether, because
I think in there as well.
Brilliant, because I think it is important that the community and voluntary groups out there know the level of support that is available, because we have to bear in mind that at the end of the day, it's the community and voluntary sector that are applying for the grants and doing the work as well. So it's good to know that there is a body of work and a body of people there that can help and maybe point you in the right direction. So thanks for that, Lorna.
You can feel a bit alone sometimes in these
absolutely
big applications, but yeah, there is the support. Thanks, Caroline. That was
thank you. Paul, Would this apply to solar or insulation projects? Absolutely. Again, it's in the telling of the story. So if you want to either share something here now, or if you want to ring or email me, that's fine. But it absolutely, when we talk about community and energy and solar, wind, and insulation, all comes in under that as well. And again, it's the telling of the story. It's the rationale behind what you're planning on doing. Because I'll just, as a little aside, somebody rang and said, oh, we want to put lights up. Great. Now, what's the story and what's the rationale? What's the output, the impact and the output as well? So sometimes I think if you sit down, even as your own committee, and brainstorm, you can be thinking of things that you wouldn't come up with on your own, and that's not being condescending, but sometimes a brainstorming session can really get you thinking about what you want to do. So Paul, I would say if you have an idea you want to run by me, feel free, and we can talk it out.
And I suppose, Caroline, just on that point, we have run grant application writing trainings the last week, and one of the things that we've been stressing again and again is that I suppose the applications need to include your outputs, your outcomes, and your impacts. So outputs in terms of what you need the money for, but your income or your outcomes, then the short-term results. But that it really helps if you put in the impacts, which are the long-term, selling the dream almost.
Yes.
So
I couldn't agree more. It is all about that storytelling and the impact that it's going to have, and the replication or the value for money or whatever. But it's so important to clearly have that stated. Don't be thinking it, put it down on paper, and you might have to do it a few times in order to tighten it up, but that's okay. And again, look, we're here, and if there's anything that we can help you with that you just need it teased out a bit, feel free. I do have a question and answer. One of the things was, could social enterprises apply? They actually can. Another query I had was, could churches, religious institutions apply? You could say it's ineligible on the larger scheme of things, but if you have a local group that are essentially independent and have their own structures in place, then they absolutely can apply when they can demonstrate that that's what they do, and most groups can. So I'm just trying to think, is there any other one now that came up recently as a query? Did I see something? I don't know, is that a new one? Oh no, that's old. Thanks, you're welcome. So I think if there's no more questions for the here and now, I hope that was
sorry, could I just ask about, I'm looking at section 1 of the application form.
Mm-hmm.
And there's first thing is details of the group, and then there's the name of the lead organisation.
That would be yourselves or whoever is going to be guiding out the project. So we'll just say, for the sake of it, that you are going to join in with the local Tidy Towns group, but you're leading the project. Then you're the lead agency, you're the lead organisation.
So if it's the group, is the project, then it's the same question.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. If a social enterprise applies, do they need to show community impact? Absolutely. You would, of course. Events, sorry, they aren't. That's the thing with this program here. Information sharing, events, unfortunately, aren't. It's very much capital. Well, it's not very much. It is capital items on this program.
So I suppose if there aren't any more questions, I'd like to thank Caroline for her time today and thank everyone for joining us. We will send out the information that Caroline has shared by email after this session, and we'll also have the recording available to PPN members online. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you all.